So the topic this morning is Mind is the Builder. And that's part of one of the most famous sayings and the key to understanding the work of Edgar Cayce. Edgar Cayce, as most of you probably know, was one of the most well-documented psychics that this part of the world has ever seen. He was born in Hopkinsville, Kentucky in 1877, and from a very young age knew that he was seeing differently. He was able to see auras, so he could actually read people's energetic expression, and he actually had conversations with his long-deceased grandfather, which really bothered his parents. But the reason that I dwell so heavily on Edgar Cayce is that his work was an important milestone in my journey back into the world of spirituality. As many of you know, but not everybody knows, I spent 30 years as a card-carrying, nail-biting atheist. By the time I was 16, I was under the impression that I was being conned by a bunch of hypocrites, people who couldn't answer tough questions. So I took a hike. I just said, well, if that's who God is, I don't need that, and so I don't believe in that. And then I had a mystical experience in my mid-40s, and it really rattled the chain, so to speak. And one of the things that helped me get back into the world of spirituality was the work of Edgar Cayce. His work involves at least 14,000 readings that he did for people. Some people got more than one reading, some people had as many as 15 or 20 during the course of their lifetimes. And they started out being health readings. He was able to self-induce a trance-like state that enabled him to access some higher level of consciousness. Nobody's really sure who it was that was causing him to speak when he was in this trance state. Whether it was a particular being or his own higher self, no one's ever really addressed that question appropriately. And the voice never said, this is whomever. It just said, this is what is. And these readings were really extraordinary because they began in the 1910s when medicine was a lot different than it is today. And he actually was able to provide health readings that would enable physicians to make miraculous cures, things that they couldn't even begin to understand. And you understand that Edgar Cayce himself had an 8th grade education. He simply didn't have the language skills to talk about the body parts and all the things that he suggested as remedies. It was way beyond his conscious understanding, but not his subconscious understanding. And so I got reacquainted with Edgar Cayce because my grandfather was born in a little town called Water Valley, Kentucky, which is about 3 miles from Cayce, Kentucky, which was named after one of the ancestors of Edgar Cayce. So I've been aware of Edgar Cayce practically all my life, and it was in my mid-40s that I got reacquainted, and I understood the work and what Edgar Cayce suggested through this trance-like state is that the spirit is the life, mind is the builder, and the physical is the result. Now, I'm sure that everybody here has a mental picture of their brain. You know what a brain looks like. The cortex looks like a wrinkled up grapefruit, right? So you have a very good picture of your brain. But does anybody have a picture of your mind? What is a mind? Who knows? And Edgar Casey suggests, and it lines up with the Course in Miracles, that mind exists outside of time and space. Outside of time and space? Really? Well, that's an amazing concept. But literally, the mind has no limits. The mind extends everywhere. And the quantum physicists have now proved, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there is some means of communication over great distances between particles that have been related to one another that violates everything that we understand about physics. What it means is that there are signals that fly across the universe at a speed greatly in excess of the speed of light. And even Einstein said that's not possible. But indeed, they've proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt now that there is a means of communication between entities separated by huge distances that is instantaneous. And what that suggests is that the mind literally is everywhere present. And how in the world do we make sense out of that notion? What does it do for us? How does it help us to realize who we are and to become who we choose to be? Who we choose to be. Most of us think, and be careful what you think, most of us think that we create our thoughts, our original thoughts. And we say, well, I thought of this and I thought of that. The actual fact is that most thoughts pre-exist. You were thinking of them. And they're just like little clouds floating in the sky, and they float through your awareness, and you say, oh, I'll take that one. I like that thought, and I'll hang on to it. And so we think that we're being creative, but we're actually being selective. And when we select thoughts that don't really support who we are choosing to be, we get in some kind of difficulty. We actually choose things that aren't helpful, that aren't supportive, that aren't life-supportive. We really choose inappropriate things from time to time. And how do we do that? We believe the messages that we've been given. We believe the thoughts that have floated past and we've glommed onto. And the secret to getting where you want to be is to make sure that you don't choose a thought that isn't functional. Either works or doesn't work. And that's the secret. Do you choose a thought that supports you becoming a grander version of yourself than you were yesterday? Or do you choose a worry? Do you choose to believe all of the things that news media and some politicians believe are wrong with the world. There's a lot that you can believe about the world that isn't terribly supportive of life. You can believe that certain people are bad people, and that gets you into some sort of difficulty. So what we do with our minds is create our life. We literally are creating our conditions and what shows up in our life. That is the function of the mind. It literally, a thought, actually can create a neuropeptide in the brain that changes the body's physical chemistry. And that's an amazing thing to think of, that a thought actually creates a chemical reaction in the body. I mean, you know what happens when you hear a loud noise and you are startled. What happens? Adrenaline gets shot into the body, your heart rate goes up, your respiration rate goes up, and you're ready to fight or fly. And that's the power of the mind. The mind is what creates those neuropeptides, the neurotransmitters that tell the brain what to do, that tell the body what to do. There are hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of different chemicals that the body can actually make. And where does the instruction come from? How do we get access to this chemical plant? Well, it's intelligence. It exists already in the universe. And that intelligence, that universal intelligence, is what we really want to tap into. We want to tap into the wisdom, the loving, nurturing wisdom of that intelligence. And when we do that, everything changes. Everything changes because we are supporting our growth. We're supporting our life improving. But the minute that you fall into negative thinking, destructive thinking, guess what happens? It shows up. Other chemicals get created and transmitted throughout the brain and the body, and it actually can cause physical changes in the body that are sometimes unpleasant. So the secret is to pay attention to your thinking. And if you discover a thought that has floated by and somehow found a home in your mind that isn't what you would choose, that isn't functional, move it out. Get rid of it. There's a simple technique. Cancel, cancel, cancel. That thought is not welcome here. Go somewhere else. Somebody loves you, but I'm not going to choose you. So you literally have to pay attention to the thoughts that are finding a home in your mind. Peace lies within us. We are capable of experiencing the peace of God in any moment. In any moment. Even when things seem to be going wrong. And that's an extraordinary statement. That's really amazing. But that's the truth. And that's where we're headed. We're up to getting to the point where we can actually choose peace. One of my favorite quotes from the Course in Miracles is I could choose peace instead of this. And it's always a choice. And the choice comes from what you're allowing to find a home in your mind. So pay attention to what's going on in your mind. Pay attention to the thoughts that are finding a home. And if you find a thought that isn't terribly welcome, serve it with an eviction notice. Say, goodbye. You have 2 minutes to find a new home. Shorter than most courts would dictate, but that's all right. When it comes to thinking, you're in charge. So you can evict these thoughts that don't serve you. And you can spend some time every day, if you can make the time, in meditation. It's the most amazing, settling influence in your life. It gets you in touch with the divinity that lies within you. When you can be in touch with the core of your being, it helps you deal with life as it shows up. Edgar Casey was fond of saying that God is the source, and your consciousness of God is your supply. God is the source of everything. And that is because out here in the universe, there's wisdom, there's intelligence, and there's goodness. And it's a field. It's an energetic field that exists right here. So all that's required is for you to choose it, to allow it, to nurture it, to let it grow within you. And when you can do that, you are increasing your consciousness, your awareness, your personal connectivity to that field. And when you connect to that field, guess what? Your life gets a whole lot better. Everything changes. Everything. Your attitude. And the best thing you can do every day is walk down the street and smile at someone. It's a gift. It's a gift of who you really are to all the rest of the souls on earth who may or may not be experiencing that for themselves. And when you give of who you really are, guess what? More of who you really are comes rushing in. It absolutely changes how you function in the world. So remember that mind is the builder. Mind takes and molds the field and creates the physical. That's what happens. And if we don't do it consciously, we're going to do it unconsciously because we have no choice about creating. We are always, always, always creating. And the best plan is to create consciously. To make a choice based on who you wish to be. Who do you wish to express your divinity to today? How about everything? How about everything? And I love ICPJ's sign, one human family. It reminds me of Neil Walsh's 15-word gospel that replaces everything else. And it goes like this. We are all one. Ours is not a better way. Ours is merely another way. And that's what we say. You know, we're not trying to prove anybody wrong. We're not trying to be right. We're trying to be who we really are. And when we be who we really are, peace extends throughout the world. So now I'll take the mic then.
Yeah.